All right, have a seat up on the lift. Here we're using blocks, or Mona has blocks with blankets on top of it. You can use blankets, of course. You can just sit in a chair. But find a sense of comfortness, of ease, if not complete ease, because sometimes just sitting cross-legged is difficult. And if it's too difficult, then you sit in a chair. Take a moment to begin noticing, being here. Just rest your hands gently on your thighs. Let your arms hang by your side ribs. And have a checking in. What is it that you're experiencing right now? Without making it right or wrong. But practicing the mentality of a reporter, where we're just observing, not judging. Maybe that's more the old school reporters, not the new ones. But where they would simply observe. And can you take that awareness of being a witness to you and your body? And the body, when I say body, it certainly includes the physical aspects. The touch points, the sit bones, the evenness of the sit bones. And it also includes what's going on inside. Experiences in the heart, in the abdomen, the solar plexus area, throat. The face, the external face, but also what's underneath. And notice what changes take place simply by observing and witnessing. The act of observing something changes its nature. Or at least our experience of its nature. How does observing you change the experience? So there are two parts here. There's the seer, the witnesser, who's doing the observing, and there's the seen, the one who may be going through changes simply by being observed, and observed non-judgmentally. And from here we can then begin our study of the body, our study of what taking minor actions in one part of the body can do to this part of the body, and also reflect in other parts of the body. So we'll begin adjusting, find the even balance of your sit bones. Lengthen the inner groins from the inner knee to the lower abdomen. Notice if one side does that first or more than the other, and see if you can begin to even out the awareness to both legs. Let the flesh of the inner thighs descend. Draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. And then pause for a moment, noticing what changes have taken place. Sometimes then we get so caught up in the doing that we forget to observe. So we've made a few actions. Now let's turn that into yoga by observing. Did that change anything? We worked on the legs. Did that change anything in the abdomen and the torso? And most importantly, in the breath and in the mind? Now we seek to maintain those adjustments that we made as we lengthen from the hips to the armpits. Allowing the chest to rise. Watch those front ribs, take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Allow the shoulders to move away from the sides of your neck. Often we say you push the shoulders down, and that's certainly fine. But I also have found over the years that if we begin to spread them, create space between where the torso meets the neck and the shoulder, if we make that longer or wider, then the shoulders begin to descend with that. Many of us hold a lot of tension across that area from the neck to the outer shoulder. So can you begin to find a spreading there? And noticing how that affects the body, the breath, the mind. Bring your palms together, your chest now. Still let the shoulders move away from each other. Actually, with the palms together, I find it even easier if you touch the palms evenly. That helps spread the shoulders. That helps spread the shoulder blades as well. Soften your face. And now we're going to work with the breath for just a moment. Notice, before changing anything, simply notice where the breath is flowing. Is it touching the front body more than the back body? Is it filling the left lung more than the right lung more than the left lung? For me, as I examine the breath, I can tell that it's filling the front of my left lung more than any other area, more than the right lung, more than the back body. That's me. I'm not adjusting it yet, I'm simply noticing. And to be clear, if you're seeking to witness this and not really noticing, not being able to notice, that is okay. Work on it anyway. Do it anyway. And with practice, you'll be able to discern. It took me a long time to be able to see the breath in this way. And once you've noticed where its default is, can you begin to spread it? Spread it so that it touches the front and back bodies evenly, and it touches the left and right sides of the body evenly, and it fills the two lungs evenly. And yes, this is understanding the lungs are different sizes, so there is no real equality, equilibrium, alignment, even though we talk about alignment. But can you still do the work that you can do to create a sense of evenness on these two sides, left and right, and the front and back? And you have to do now the doing and the witnessing at the same time, continuing this work of the breath to spread it equally in the body. Can you observe the effects that this action has on the physical body and on the mind itself? And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together, exhaling completely, deep inhalation. Om. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. The palms up allows you to receive the energy from universe, source, whatever it is you might want to receive from. Allow yourself to receive. You're being offered, so you may as well receive. With your eyes closed, raise your head, and from the back of your head, gently let your eyelids open. Straighten your legs. And you can keep your lift. If the lift doesn't work, sit on the floor. If you prefer the floor is fine for this. You want to have a lifted torso. If you have tight hamstrings and a weaker abdomen, you'll find that you slouch a little bit, and then the lower back begins to get over-rounded. So draw the abdomen into the body to help support the spine. And press the tops of the thighs down and lengthen. Lengthen from the top of the thigh out through the knee, out through the heel. And then also lengthen from the top of the thigh back towards the abdomen. Right? We often think that the energy of the movement has to go one way, and sometimes it goes two ways. Two-way streets in our body. You know, as beginners, we learn one way. But no brand new people today. So can you begin to experience some two-way streets? Draw from the outer knee to the outer hips, compact your hips together. And now use the work of the thighs pressing down, use the work of the sit bones pressing down to be clear evenly, to help lift the side ribs. Right? Downward action creates upward action. So press the thighs down, press the sit bones into your whatever you're sitting on, blankets, blocks, floor. And use that to create length from the hips through the armpits without pushing the ribs forward. Move those shoulder bones away from your ears. So you can press it, whether you're flat hands or fingertips, right? I'm fingertips because my arms are further from the floor. So I'm putting slightly more pressure on the tip of the first finger and thumb, not white knuckling it, but I'm turning the forearm slightly in and then the upper arm slightly out. This is, we worked on that either earlier this week or last week. Don't let your elbows go out to the side. Some of you online have your elbows out. You guys here are doing fine. Leanne, see if you can take your hands a little further back. There you go. And then use that to help lift. That's it. Feels better forward? Yeah. You want to lift the armpit chest, this area. So everyone do this. Everyone take your thumbs here. Hook your armpit. And without your hands, so you'll have to take your abdomen a little bit more, especially if you have issues in the lower back. So draw the abdomen in and use the thumbs to lift that armpit chest up and then keep the memory there. Take the thumbs out. You take the thumbs out and keep the memory and keep this lifted. Don't let that sink. Take the hands down. Now tell me. Talk to me, Leanne. Yeah, so then keep the ribs in. So she takes the hands back, she's pushing the ribs out. So now here's the work. And this, if it's more comfortable here, it's more comfortable here. I'm not saying you can't do that. But if you take the hands back, keep those ribs in, and then find that length. It's something to play with. This. There's that. Okay, so Ramona wants saying hands behind. Everyone, take your hands back. Lean back. Some of you might need to lower your lift in order to do this. So now Ramona is on a lower lift, right? Which makes us want to lean back. So now we're moving towards the back bend. Now be careful. Take these front bottom ribs towards the back body. Don't thrust them forward. Even in back bends, don't thrust those bottom ribs forward. So take them in. Now press towards the inner hand, rotate the upper arms out, and lift that armpit chest. Now here's the real deal. Well, they're all real deals. I shouldn't say that. Try and keep the lift you've just created here as you take the hands forward. Oh, that's not easy. Because I want to sink in the lower back now. So again, there's not always a right and wrong, but what can you learn from doing it one way and bring it into what is the quote unquote traditional pose? Doesn't mean you can't go outside of that. When I'm back like this, my shoulders go up because my arms are long. That's what it is. Bend your elbows. Bend the elbows. There. Yeah. Now you just take those, you straighten the arms as much as you can without allowing the shoulders to come up. When they come up, that's it. All right, enough of this one. Come off your lift. If you need a lift, take it. Separate your legs. Now, some of you might need a blanket or two blankets. So if you need that, that's totally fine. But I know some of you don't need that. So let's start with hands by hips. Turn the thighs in so the kneecaps point up. Press the thighs down. So yeah, so Leanne, you have to play then with the length of your arms, because what you're doing is you're using your arms to get them straight, then you lean forward. And I would say it's probably because you want to get them straight and your arms are long. So keep them bent. Shoulders over hips right now. We'll do some things we just did in Tadasana too. But thigh bone down, sit bones down. Of course, the flesh of the inner thighs down, flesh of the outer thighs down. My elbows are bent here. Lengthening, inner thigh to inner knee, out through the inner heel, also through the ball of the big toe, lengthening from the inner thigh back towards the abdomen. Drawing the outer knees to the outer hips, while still doing the actions of the inner outer leg, while still pressing the thigh bones down. Now see if you can keep that in the legs, and we're going to turn this into a slight back bend. Take the hands behind you. Press the thighs down still. Now my elbows are bent. I don't have them straight, but I'm going to rotate the upper arms out and bring the shoulder blades in and the front bottom ribs back. So front bottom ribs back, shoulder blades in. Find a comfortable place for your head. So you're more in a back bend now. Not a complete back bend, but you're more in a back bend now, right? And that armpit chest that I had you lift before, lift that. In fact, take the back armpit towards the front armpit. Take the back armpit towards the front armpit. Now the fun part. Now, well, first, notice if your legs have fallen out. So turn those thighs in again. Now back armpit to front armpit again. And then walk your hands forward. Keep those thighs working, but try and keep that opening in the armpit chest. And for me, it's a little easier. I have my fingertips pointed backwards now. Traditional pose is forward, I want to be clear. But to maintain that experience that I was just going for, I took my fingertips backwards, pointing behind. And I lost a little bit, but I maintained some. So now, can you keep the lift of the armpit chest and rotate the palms forward? You can't really see my hands, but I'm doing this very slowly. right? So I have it here, and I'm slowly turning it around, because if I just go like that, I lose everything. So let's do it again. So lean back, get your legs first. Thighs down, lengthen the inner legs, draw the outer knees to outer hips, toes are up. And then rotate the upper arms out, draw the bottom ribs, front bottom ribs in, shoulder blades in. So back, front bottom ribs back, shoulder blades forward and up. Lift the armpit chest, so back armpit to front armpit. And then maintain what you can. Walk your hands forward, fingertips back. And now maintain what you can. Turn the fingers forward. I know you will not maintain it all. Well, maybe you will. Maybe your practice is better than mine. Definitely possible. And now notice the discrepancies on the two sides and even them out. I personally feel like I'm working with two complete different bodies on the left and right side. They have nothing to do together. They barely want to talk to each other. So what do you need to do to create an evenness? I can't give you those instructions because your body is different than mine. Take your hands on the inside of your knees. Go straight up. Take your feet together. So if you're close to the ground, you can take your fingertips, not fingertips, fingers underneath your feet. Some of you, this just isn't too good. If you're way up here, take a lift. Please, please, please. And you can take your hands by your hips. Okay? But I did some hip openers this morning, so this isn't the worst I've done for me for my Pravrita Trikonasana. Press your heels. Lengthen from the inner thigh to the inner knees, from the inner thighs to the abdomen. Compact the hips together. And again, whether if you're holding underneath your toes, then rotate the forearm in so the ball of the thumb is pushing the big toes together, and then rotate the upper arms out. If you're here, and Liam, this one, see if you can interlace. There you go. Okay, and you're pushing the foot down. You're not pulling the foot up, but you're keeping the foot down. And if your hands are by your hips, that's fine. Rotate the forearm in, press the ball of the first finger and thumb, or if your fingertips, then the tip of the first finger and thumb, not hard, but a little more pressure there, rotate the upper arms out. And I can notice, especially when I'm in this one, which is a lot more difficult for me with hands by the hips, that my weight just all shifted onto my left sit bone. So how can I adjust? How can you adjust? Now take your hands behind you. So I am going to turn my fingertips back, just like I did in Pravrita Trikonasana. Press the heels. Lengthen the groins, draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips. Ribs in, ribs back, front ribs back, shoulder blades forward. Front ribs back, shoulder blades forward. Rotate the upper arms out. And it's that same action of doing, and this is a version of Pravrita Trikonasana. It's fine to do this just as a back bend. You don't have to do it always sitting upright. It is, the traditional Pravrita Trikonasana, but this is a great pose. So take the back armpits to the front armpits. Right, so what you want to think of is, this is a difficult pose here. So you're not just leaning back to lean back to create more space, but this is a back bending version of the pose. I wasn't going to teach back bends today. We'll get to some forwards and twists maybe. We'll see where it goes. But can you do it? Can you bring the front bottom ribs back, the shoulder blades in, and the back armpit to the front armpit? Maybe even begin to bring your head back if that's comfortable. If that's not comfortable for your neck, please just look straight forward, but you can still do the work. Front, bottom ribs back, shoulder blades in. And then you might be here and just not want to leave because this is luscious. But seeking to take this, now bring the head forward, seeking to take this back into an upright position. So my fingertips are still facing back, but I'm trying now to bring that experience into shoulders over the hips. So front, bottom ribs back, shoulder blades in. Back armpit to front armpit. Armpit chest still lifted. Compacting the hips together. Trying to even out those sit bones. And now trying to maintain as much as I can. I know I'm going to lose some, but I'm going to maintain as much as I can as I'm doing this. I'm turning the fingers forward. And I'm doing one hand at a time, because if I do them both together, then I'll really lose all of it. All right, I lost some, but I was able to use the muscle memory to get it back. My shoulders definitely came up, but now I brought the shoulders down, back armpit to front armpit. And coming out, take your hands on your outer knees, push your legs together, hold behind one knee, draw the flesh towards the buttocks, drag the heel, straighten the leg. Draw the flesh towards the buttocks, other leg, drag the heel, straighten the leg. Tadasana, do a little check-in with yourself. All right, so some people think these sitting poses, there's zero work, and you can do it with no work, and those are great restorative ways to do it. And these are also powerful ways to begin to penetrate different parts of the body. All right, let's stand up. Tadasana, feet together. Thank you for those questions, Leanne. Can you take the work that we had? You know what? Back on the floor. I'm going to do something. Sorry. And we won't be here long. Everybody on the floor itself. Dandasana. If you need to take your hands back to protect your lower back, take your hands back. We won't be here long. But I do want you to lift the side ribs. And I just want you to notice your legs. Which thigh is touching more of the floor? And how can you even that out? Which back of the knee is touching more of the floor or closer to the floor if they're not touching? Neither, you know, I have space under both of them here. My teacher would yell at me, okay. Which calf has more pressure? And maybe which, so it's both the surface, but also which has more weight on it. Is one heel even heavier than the other? And take a moment just to try and even it out. I don't care if it gets even, but seek that. And then you have to remember it. So remember what work you're doing now. And then stand up. So the feet are touching the floor, so you can balance evenly on the feet. You can spread evenly on the inner and outer feet of each foot. But now you made some actions when you were on the floor to even the legs out. You're not, again, your legs are not, the feet are against the surface, but the back of the legs aren't like they were. But chances are they are doing the same thing. So can you work unevenly like you had to do on the floor to create a sense of evenness? And imagine that there is a floor there, or there's some surface behind you that you are sitting on, or there's contact, there are touch points. Can you picture it there? Can you use your mind as a guide and even out those touch points? And then take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Back bottom ribs towards the front body. I forget who was teaching the class. It was an online class. It was a couple months ago. And everyone's heard bring your shoulder blades in. But she was teaching from the back bottom ribs. And I've been teaching a little bit of that because I'm still studying it, because it was one of the first classes. It's one of the senior Iyengar teacher. And I forget who it was. But I found that if you bring your back bottom ribs in, that can allow that opening in the chest in a different way, but in a profound way, instead of always doing it from the shoulder blades, which I found we can overdo over the years. So see how that works for you. You can certainly bring the shoulder blades in, but can you play with front bottom ribs back bottom ribs in, and see what effect that has? We'll take your arms out to the sides. See if you can keep the arms in line with your torso. So try not to bring them forward, but take them back a little bit. To take them back, take the back armpit to the front armpit, right? This is what we were doing when our arms were by our sides. Take the back armpit to the front armpit, and that creates a little bit more space for the arms to go back. Of course, it does push the thighs forward, so take the thighs back. Isn't that fascinating how when you move your armpits, your thighs move? And then rotate the arms up. And there go the thighs again. And even the front bottom ribs. My ribs went forward when I moved my arms. Well, why is that? Well, yes, why? Because all your muscles are connected. Take the front bottom ribs back bottom ribs in. Drop the shoulders as you extend the arms up. Open those armpits. And now as you extend the arms up, can you go back to the legs? Can you go back to the legs and work them unevenly to create a sense of evenness, just as you did when you were sitting on the floor in Tadasana? And can you allow the breath to touch the front and back bodies at the same time? Feel the left and right lung at the same time. And can you use those back bottom ribs to keep those arms up? Back bottom ribs in, front bottom ribs back. But it's the back bottom ribs that are pushing those arms up. Turn your arms out to the side. Exhale, come down. We teach a Trikonasana, triangle pose. Take your fingertips up, bend your legs, jump or step your feet apart. Take a wide stance where your feet are below your hands as your arms are extended. Drop your shoulders. Again, see if you cannot have your arms forward, but arms in line with your body. Good, Ramon. Turn your left foot in, turn your right leg out. Ensure that your front heel is in line with your back arch. Take the back thigh back, press the outer rim of the back heel, turn the front thigh out, and lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Squeeze those hips together, compact the hips. And then keep pressing the back heel, reach that back arm, exhale, come down. Better with that front hip, Leanne. That was good. Keep your head back. Rest your hand on your shin. Ultimately, yes, it's on the floor on the outside of your leg. Press the back thigh back. Turn the front thigh out. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Extend those arms. Reach with that top arm and pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. We'll go right over to the other side. Right foot and left leg out. Take that back thigh back. Turn the front thigh out. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact those hips together. Now maintain that action. Compact those hips together. Press the back heel. Reach through the back arm. Exhale, come down. And then check in. Are you still pressing the back heel, even though the weight went over the front leg? Turn the front thigh out. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Rotate the torso and extend those arms away from each other. Become the observer. And pressing the back heel, lift yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. Jump or step your feet together. Tadasana. Check in with yourself. Touch the breath to the front and back sides of the body. Fill up the left and right lungs evenly. Don't strain the breath to do that. If that's a strain at all, if you get dizzy at all, don't do it. And I'm not asking you to force the breath. I'm not asking you to take a deeper breath to be clear. I'm just asking you to notice where it's flowing and adjust it slightly if it's not even. Fingertips up one more time. Bend your legs, jump or step. Drop the shoulders, extend the arms. Left foot in, right leg out. Front heel in line with your back arch. So take that back thigh back, press into the back heel. Longer stance if you can, Ramona. Turn the front thigh out if it's accessible. If it's not, don't worry about it. Draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact those hips together. Inhale, exhale, take that hand down. Now, everyone, take your left hand on your hip. Use your hand, take it just in the front of your hip. There's that little protrusion there, right? It's kind of a little shelf. Pull that back so that the thigh goes back with you. Press the back heel. Now turn the front thigh out and lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Allow the head to go back. You can grab the block. Now see that the torso is parallel to the wall in front and behind you. And then notice if the breath is filling the front body more than the back body, or vice versa. And can you ensure that the breath touches the front and back bodies equally? For most of us, that means you have to ensure that the back body is getting some of your breath. And how does this change the experience of the body and the mind when you play with the breath, focus the breath? Don't let the chin come forward. Now, if you can, look up at the ceiling. If that bothers your neck, don't do it, or you can even look down if that bothers your neck. Does that change the breath? Can you redirect the breath to the front and back body? And then extend your arm up. Does that change the breath? Can you redirect it to the front and back body? Then reach through that arm, pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet, take your hands on your hips. Extend the arms. Right foot in, left leg out. Front heel in line with your back arch. Take that back thigh back, turn the front thigh out, lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Keep pressing the back heel, exhale, come down. Take your right hand on your hip. So again, take your right hand, that bone is sticking out, and just pull that bone up and back. It helps turn the torso. It takes the thigh back, presses the back heel, but it also helps rotate the torso because everything's connected. Now keep the front thigh turned out. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Take your head back. Now, there's a tendency for some of us here to either lean forward or overdo it and lean back. So I'm asking you to see that your torso is parallel to the front and back walls. So you're leaning a hair forward, Ramona. See if I would take the hand a little higher on your shin and then lean back slightly. And then begin to direct the breath. Well, first observe the breath. Where is it? So if I observe mine, most of it's going into the front body. Can today you allow it to go into the front and back bodies equally? Can you direct it to the lungs equally? And then begin to look up if it's accessible, not if it's not. And noticing how that changes the breath, turning the head. Does that change your breath? If so, readjust. Direct the breath to the front and back bodies. And then extending your arm. Again, noticing if that changes the breath. And then redirecting it to the front and back bodies. And pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. Jump or step your feet together. Tadasana. Checking in here. Again, imagining that your legs are touching a surface. Touch that surface evenly. Front bottom ribs back, back bottom ribs in. Shoulders moving away from the sides of your neck as you extend out through the arms. And release. All right, take a chair. We're going to do, have the chair, have your blocks nearby. We're not going to use them to start. We're doing Pravrita. We did it on Tuesday. We're going to do it again. We're going to see how it goes. We might add some blocks to it. But we'll start off how we started off Tuesday. So hands on the chair, and you walk your feet back. So right foot forward, left leg back, but not so you're over the chair, so that you have this long distance between your hips and your fingertips, and your armpits are as open as you can get them. Yes? Words making sense? So walk back as far as you are able. And that's both legs, not just one leg. So draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. That, as we spoke about the other day, that right hip goes forward. So can you take the right hip sit bone back? Can you take the right hip sit bone back? And for most of us, that left one down. So take the left hip down, both of you, Leanne, Ramona. So that you can create the sides of your torso so that you can have them equal in length. Now, your hands are on the chair. So keep your hips moving back. That left one goes down slightly. The right one goes back, and then both go back and walk your hands forward. Don't move the chair. Walk your hands onto the chair forward. And then lengthen from the pubic bone to the navel, from the navel to the sternum, from the sternum to the collarbone. Let the energy roll over your shoulders. Bring those shoulder blades into the body, and the shoulder blades move down your back. And then again, as you spoke the other day, as the shoulder blades go down the back, they also come into the body to move the chest forward. And then bend the front leg. Notice where your feet are. You're switching legs. So take the back foot to where the front foot is. Take the front foot to where the back foot was. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. And most of you will notice that now your left hip is forward. And the left side of your body is shorter than the right side of your body. Can you take that left hip back? And you want your hips to be squared to the ground. So you do have to go inward to see this, or you can even take you can take one hand and put it on your buttocks to see. But for most of us, it means take that right hip down slightly. To be clear, some people then learn to overdo that action, and I don't want you to overdo it. But take the right hip down slightly, take the left hip back, the left sit bone back. Now keep the hips going back as you walk the hands forward. All right, so that's creating more length in the side ribs and in the armpits. Walk your hands down the chair, or towards the back of the chair, is what I mean by down, not towards the floor. And as you do that, as you keep the hips going back, as you walk the hands forward, Lengthen from the pubic bone to the navel, navel to the sternum, sternum to the collarbone. Energy goes over the shoulders, shoulder blades in and down your back, but then they also go in and take your chest forward. And then bend your front leg, walk your back leg to your front leg, and Tadasana. Now, some of you can come onto blocks. So take your blocks here on either side. So in front of the chair. And with your long arms, Leanne, you can probably use long arms and flexibility. You can probably use lower blocks. So same thing, right foot forward, left leg back. Start with hands on the chair. And you're going to end up moving the blocks. It doesn't matter where exactly they are. We're just putting them in the neighborhood for you. So lift the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Walk further back. You had more distance before. Not just the back leg, both. No. We'll take that back leg back too. Your torso last time seemed closer to the floor. Now your legs are too far apart. Legs closer together. But just more open in the armpits. So right hip back. Right hip back. Right hip back, left hip down. Lift the outer knees, the outer hips, compact the hips together. Keep the sides of the torso equal in length. Walk the hands forward. Lengthen the front of the spine. Take the shoulder blades into the body, down your back, but also into the body, extending the chest forward. Now keep that length and take your hands on the blocks. Well, these high ones are too high for me. I'm lowering them. Maybe you don't need the blocks. Maybe you can get to the floor. That's fine. Or the blocks is fine. But don't just round the back, right? So you use the chair to get all that length. Now walk your hands or blocks forward. Walk your hands or blocks forward. And lengthen your chest towards your big toe. So that right hip's still going back. Right hip's still going back. Say something kind to your hamstring, please. Right hip's still going back and up. Walk those blocks forward. That's fine, Leanne. Yep. And then just crawl your hands forward. And take your chest towards your big toe. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips, especially the front one. Especially that front one. And then take the blocks back underneath your shoulders or hands underneath your shoulders. Extend the chest forward. Hands on the chair. And bend the front leg and switch legs. Words making sense? Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Take that left hip back, right hip down, so that they're even. Don't overdo that right hip down. It's easy to overdo that. So hands on the chair first. So take both hips back now and walk the hands further down the chair to lengthen. That's it, Leanne. That's good. Lengthen through the side ribs. That looks really good, Ramona. Lengthen through the side ribs and armpits. Keep that left hip going back. And now you have to keep all that length. You have to decide the height of the blocks and if you need them at all. Keep that length and allow the torso to come over your front leg as you take the blocks down, and then you can walk the blocks forward. Walking the blocks forward helps lengthen the torso towards that big toe. Don't just round the back. The goal is not to get the head on your shin, but take your chest towards your big toe. The abdomen needs to be on the thigh before your head touches your shin. Vivian, relax your head. And both outer knees to outer hips, but especially that front one, relax your head now, Leanne. Let your head completely go in this part of it, yeah? That front leg, outer knee to outer hip. The more you lift through that front leg, the more your torso goes over your thigh. Don't just go for the flexibility, go for the strength that brings the flexibility. It's both. And then walk those blocks back underneath your shoulders. And extend your chest forward. Hands on the chair. Bend your front leg. Walk the back foot in. And come up into Tadasana. Check in with yourself. Little journey. Now we're going to take another journey. You can put the blocks to the side. Keep the chair. Now you're going to be closer to the chair. So I'm going to take mine more. No, that'll work. You'll be closer to the chair, but your right foot will now be underneath the chair. And the left leg back. Same distance between the legs. We're doing Pravrita Trikonasana now. So square those hips. We're using the chair for support. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips together. So hands on hips. Take your torso forward. And then take both hands on the chair for a moment. Compact the hips together. Now, as you compact the hips together, in order to create more space for the twist, take the tops of the thighs, tops of the groins apart. So the hips compact, but sometimes when we compact the hips, the inner thighs squeeze together. Can you take the inner thighs away from each other, even as you take the outer hips towards each other? The answer is kind of no, but do it anyway. So both hands on the chair now. Compact the hips, spread the upper thighs, spread the groins. And then take your right hand to the center, left hand to the center of your chair. I'm actually doing it the same direction you are now. So left hand to the center of your chair, right hand on your hip. Take that right hip back, just like we did for Pravrita. As you take the hip back, extend the chest forward and turn. Turn to face your back wall. Now you can't see me anymore. It's okay, yep. Don't drop the left hip can go down, but don't drop it down too much. Rotate. Don't rotate your shoulders to move your abdomen. Rotate your abdomen to move your shoulders. Today. And if you have your balance, then take your right arm up. And the chair helps with the balance. And then take your right hand on your hip. Turn your torso towards the floor. Bend your front leg. And switch legs. So the left foot now under the chair, right leg back. So first, you want to square those hips. So take that left hip back. Take the left hip back. Take the left hip back. Right hip down slightly. Left hip back. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact those hips together. Now, as you compact hips together, can you spread the upper thighs away from each other? So the brain has to work differently. It thinks bring everything together or separate anything. So you need to work differently. Bring the hips together, but bring the thighs apart. And then take the right hand in the center of the chair, so it's in line with your foot, right over your foot. Take your left hand on top of your thigh. On top of, at the hip. Take that hip back as you extend the chest forward, and then rotate. And then rotate. And see if you can rotate your abdomen to turn your shoulders, not just pulling, cranking with the shoulders. Let the head go back. Head back. That's it, Ramona. On each exhalation, rotate. And then turn your torso towards the floor. We'll do the arm the second time. I forgot you to take the arm up, but that's okay. Turn your torso towards the floor, bend the front leg, and take your feet together. Come on. I ask forgiveness for My lax of that left arm up. It'll happen again, I promise you. All right, right foot forward, left leg back, hands on the chair. So the shoulders are over the chair now. Take that right hip back, compact the hips together, spread the thighs apart. And then left hand in the center of the chair, right hand on your hip. Take that right hip back more. And see if you can begin to rotate from the base of the spine towards the top of the spine. So use your breath. Inhale, lengthen, which means take that right hip back, extend the chest forward. Exhale, turn just at the lower back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn into the mid back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn into the upper back. And Leanne, if you want, get rid of the chair, use the block. Just take the block, because that'll work for you. Now take your head back slightly. Rotate your abdomen more to push the shoulders. Take your right arm up if you have balance. Extend the arms away from each other. Now become the observer. Now take your hand on your hip, rotate towards the chair. Both hands on the chair, switch legs. So take that left hip back, left hip back. So start with your hip squared. They don't stay squared the whole time. Ultimately, the right hip goes down slightly. At least start with them squared, taking that left hip back. One right hand in the middle of the chair, left hand on your hip. Now really take that left hip back. Inhale, lengthen. Well, compact the hips, spread the groins. Compact the hips, spread the thighs. And inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn. Starting out just at the lower back. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning into the mid back. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning into the upper back. Let the head go back. Allow the head to go back. No chin tucking. And your next exhalation, rotating the abdomen again to turn the shoulders, right? So not cranking with the shoulders to turn the abdomen, but turn the abdomen to turn the shoulders. And if you have your balance, extend your arm up. Extend those arms away from each other. If you've gotten enough of the turn to really extend the arms can then help you turn more. If the turn's not really there yet, the arms don't have the ability to do the work, so don't worry about that so much. Press that back heel down. The end. For stability. And then hand on hip, turn your torso towards the floor. Take the front leg back and do downward facing dog, support of the chair. Press the thighs back. You can walk the hands forward here too. Press the thighs back. Compact the hips, spread the groins, spread the tops of the thighs. Even though they're not together like they were, but picture the tops of the thighs moving away from each other as the hips move towards each other. Press the thigh bones back. The other day we worked on the openings of the back of the knee. Take the top of the calf down, press the heel, take the bottom of the hamstring up. Become the observer. Then look up, walk your feet forward. Tadasana. I know, there's a lot of work in these poses. All right, let's continue with the twist, but with the help of the chair. So take the back of the chair towards the front of the room and face the parking lot. Have the right side of your body towards the back of the chair. Square the hips, square the knees, square the heels. Now here, I find a lot in my twist that my front bottom ribs stick forward again. So take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. And you can work on those back bottom ribs coming in as well to keep that lift to the chest. Arms forward, arms up. And arms out to the sides. Keep that lift. Now take the arms upside. That's it. Inhale, exhale, take hold of the backs of the chair. Now keep the chin in line with your sternum. Take the elbows up and shoulders down. Compact the hips, spread the groins, right? Spread the tops of the groins, spread the tops of the thighs, create more space for the twist. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Lift the elbows, lift the chest, drop the shoulders. Become the observer. I can't see if people are grimacing with the masks on. If you're grimacing, don't. Inhale, lifting, exhale, come to center. Turn around on the chair. Compact the hips, release the groins, spread the groins. Arms forward, arms up. Front ribs back, back ribs in. Inhale, exhale, take the arms down. Compact the hips, spread the groins, front ribs back ribs forward. Inhale, exhale, take hold of the back of the chair, chin in line with sternum, elbows up, shoulders down. Go back to the legs, compact the hips, release the inner thighs, release the inner groins. Front ribs back ribs in. Inhale, exhale, turn. Shoulders down. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Maintain that lift, inhale, exhale, come to center. One more time. Last twist. Square the hips, knees, heels. Compact the hips, spread the groins. Front ribs back ribs forward. Arms forward, arms up. Inhale, exhale, arms down. Inhale, exhale, take hold of the chair. Redo the legs, compact the hips, release the groins. Redo the ribs, front rib, bottom ribs back bottom ribs in. Elbows up, shoulders down. Inhale, lifting, starting at the base of the spine. Exhale, turning. Moving into the lower back. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn, move into the mid back. Shoulders down. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning, move into the upper back. Now take that left bottom rib and move that into the body and have that help with the turn. The left back bottom rib helping you rotate around while maintaining that lift of the chest. Observe. Exhale, come to center. Turn around on the chair. Square hips, knees, heels. Compact the hips, spread the groins. Front ribs back, bottom ribs in. Arms forward, arms up. Inhale, lift, arms out to the sides. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, take hold of the chair. And back to the legs. Compact the hips, release the groin. Front ribs back Back bottom ribs in, forward. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning from the lower back up. Moving to the mid back. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Elbows up, shoulders down. Watch those front ribs going forward. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning, moving into the upper back. Now take the right back bottom rib that in enough and have that action help rotate you. You don't have to always do it this way, but it is a way to do it, a way to bring awareness. And observe. Maintain the lift, inhale. Maintain the lift, exhale, come to center. Downward facing dog on the chair one last time. Nice to even things out after twists before we lie back. Thighs back, compact the hips, release the groins. Lengthen the side ribs, armpits, arms. What instruction do you need here that I'm not giving you? What do you need? Can you make this yours? What's your pose here? In the end, press through that inner hand. Get that ball of the first. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, get that ball of the first finger going down. That's it. And then look up, walk your feet forward, Tadasana. Lie back. If you want a blanket under your head, you can take a blanket under your head. Lie back. Give yourself a little hug. Bend your legs into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Use this as an opportunity to say something kind to yourself. On your inhalation, take your feet to the floor. Scoop the flesh of your buttocks towards your heels. Straighten your legs one at a time. Let the legs fall apart. Take your arms out to the sides with your palms up. Let go. Let go. Rest your eyes into your cheekbones. When we were sitting earlier in Tadasana, I said, take a look at how your legs are touching the floor and even them out. Notice how your body is touching the floor, the legs, the torso, the arms. And see if you can, what subtle movements you can take to even them out. Or maybe you need to do a major movement before you fully settle in. But what can you do to create more evenness on the left and right sides of the body as it settles in, surrenders to the Mother Earth below you? And at some point, then you just have to go, here I am. This is even as it's going to be right now, this moment, and accept it the way it is. Then move to softening in the legs, the arms, the torso, a letting go and a surrendering. A softening of all the facial features. Let the tongue rest on your lower palate, lips soft, jaw soft. Now, I'm not asking you to lengthen the breath, or shorten the breath, or deepen the breath, or anything like that. But as the breath frees you, can you gently direct the breath to touch the front and back bodies equally and fill the two lungs equally? And then in our last minute or so, give up any control of the breath. Simply let the breath breathe you. You can notice where it chooses to flow. Maybe it goes to one place over another. Maybe it's more even now. Without doing any sort of adjustments, be here. Shavasana. And take a soft, smooth, peaceful inhalation. A longer, smooth, peaceful exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Touch your thumb across the tips of your forefingers. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Take your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, send your right arm past your right ear, roll to the right side. If you prefer the left side, roll to the left side. It's okay. Rest your ear into your upper arm. And when you feel ready, turn your torso towards the floor first. Use your top hand, your lower elbow, push to come up. Come up chest first, head last. Come up to sitting. Bring your palms together. Draw your eyes back and down to gaze at your heart. Gently turn the corners of your lips up. Take a moment to observe your practice. What's different? What's changed in the body, in the breath, in the mind? Take this practice with you through the rest of your day with kindness and compassion. Kindness and compassion for others, and most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. Let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Om. Gently let your eyes open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you.